The only equipment I'm using in this video is an 8-foot piece of rope. Any strap or yoga belt of similar length will work. The core, mobility for the upper leg, pelvis, spine, and thorax. Finding neutral position. Lie down on your back, knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat, and straight. Sensing the midsection and the pelvic bones. Inhaling, tilt your pelvis forward and notice how you hollow the lower back. Exhaling, tuck the hips, imprinting the spine on the mat. Inhale, as you tilt, feel the hip flexors contract. Exhale, feeling the hip flexors release toward the spine. Inhaling, tilt. Exhaling, tuck. Placing heel of hands on frontal hip bones and fingertips on pubic bone, sensing they are level. Like the hub of a wheel, the whole body organizes around this neutral pelvis. The hips, stretching the lower back, sacrospinalis and gluteus maximus. Loop your rope around the right foot. From neutral position, exhale, flex the hip, knee bent 90 degrees. Use the rope to assist toward the in range of motion. Inhale, return to the neutral position, exhaling into the stretch. Using the opposite hand to help keep the ribs pulled in, stable through the midsection. At a point, you can start to open the knee out a little wider, helping to clear the rib cage as you work deeper into the hip. Next, move across the midline, stretching into the outer corners of the hip. Nice and easy, feel for the rotation in the femur bone itself. You can use your hand to assist. There should not be any strain on the knee. Keep the work into the hips. More flexible people might go without the rope, using the hands to assist the gentle stretch along the hip. We're never giving more than a pound of pressure in the assistance. Remember to keep the midsection strong. That will help greatly through the stretch. Inhaling returns to neutral, exhaling into the stretch. Once again, we go across the midsection, working into the outer edges of the hips, the gluteus maximus. Feel the knee move across toward the opposite side armpit. Inhaling and exhale, rotate just a few more degrees each time. Switching sides. Once again, we exhale to move into the stretch. Inhale, returning to neutral. Very gentle throughout the stretching sequences. Always utilizing a gradual approach. You'll notice that over time, you'll gradually increase the range of motion. As the hips start to loosen up, then you can clear the rib cage by moving the knee out. Next, we return across the midline, working into the outer corners of the hips. Here we move the left knee across the midline toward the right armpit. You can give gentle assistance with your same side hand. Do keep the foot flexed so you maintain structure throughout the leg. As you warm up, or more flexible people, you might go without the rope, giving gentle assistance toward the in range of motion. Remember, the movement is created by flexing the hips. The arm is there just to help shape your position, helping to refine your alignment as you practice. Again, going across the midline, we move the knee toward the opposite side shoulder. Working to imprint the lower back, remember your neutral pelvis as you practice. Keep working to find new sticky areas. Take your time, work with the breath. Finishing our hip sequence with the double pelvic tilt. Here you begin with the tight midsection. With your exhale, flex both knees into the body. As you loosen up, the knees open wider than the rib cage, stretching deep into the low back. Remember, keep imprinting your low back onto the mat. The majority of the movement originates with the core. The arms only assist toward the end. Bent knee hamstring, stretching the distal hamstring attachments. Looping the rope around your right foot. Begin with the knee straight to get a sense of your starting range of motion. With your inhale, the knee bends, that releases the stretch. With the exhale, fully extend the knee, fully straighten the leg. Inhaling, release the pressure. Exhale to stretch. Gradually increasing the range of motion, using the opposite hand to help assist as you straighten out the knee. Wrapping the strap to the inside of the foot, using the opposite hand to assist in rotating the femur internally, stretching deep into the hip pockets. Try to sense the internal hamstring, especially the attachment points behind the knee. Nice and easy as you massage deep into the hip. Switch. Move the strap now to the outside of the foot, rotating the femur out. Switch hands. As you extend the leg, start to rotate the hip out. Again, massaging femur deep into the hip socket. Feeling now for the outer hamstring attachment points, especially along the knee. Massaging deep into the hip socket. And switch feet. Looping the left foot now, we'll start with the neutral position, inhaling, and exhale to extend the knee. Remember, it's the activation of the quadriceps that releases the hamstring into the stretch position. Maintaining neutral positions, soft throughout the face. Taking the rope through to the inside of the foot now, internally rotating the femur. Using the opposite side hand to assist in the rotation. Really sense how the femur bone deeply massages into the hip socket, massaging from the inside out. Nice and easy, just gradually increasing the range of motion with each repetition. Switching now, the strap moves to the outside of the ankle and prepare for the external hip rotation. Nice and easy, massaging the femur deep into the hip pocket. Remember to breathe and work with the breath. Inhaling, on the exhale, release the pressure deep into the stretch. Straight leg hamstring, stretching the belly of all three hamstring muscles. Keeping the leg completely straight, walk your hands up the rope to assist in stretching the hamstring. Inhale returns to neutral position. The quadricep muscles remain tight. In conjunction with the hip flexors, you stretch deep into the hamstring. Release in the inhale. In the exhale, walk up the rope, gradually increase, and release. Always work with the breath, nice and easy. And switch. Wrapping the strap to the inside of the leg, that rotates the leg in. Working now with the inner hamstring. With your exhale, you can walk up the rope and move the leg slightly out. That'll help clear the rib cage, and you can feel a little bit more work into the inner portion of the thigh. Nice and easy. Remember to keep the leg straight. Internal rotations, difficult for many people. Work slowly with the breath. Gradually increase the range of motion with each repetition. Switching, moving the strap to the outside of the foot. Keeping the leg rotated out, we now move the leg across the midline as you stretch up. You'll feel this working into the outer hamstring, the outer edges of the hip. Keep the leg fully straight. Perhaps you'll feel connection points to the IT band, especially for runners and other athletes. Nice and steady. Using just a pound of pressure with the arms. We're not so much trying to pull the leg into place as we are assisting to shape the posture. Switching now to the left foot. The neutral position, keeping leg completely straight. With the exhale, walk up the rope. And with the inhale, release, tapping the heel lightly on the mat. Nice and easy. Remember, we prioritize a stable midsection, tight through the belly. As you work, Inhale, tap the heel. Exhale, walking up the rope into the belly of all three hamstrings. Notice how you can increase by just a few centimeters each repetition. Now wrapping the strap through to the inside of the ankle. Walking up the rope, again we're allowed to move the leg outside a bit to clear the rib cage. Notice how that stretches a little deeper into that inner hamstring. Although we're isolating the hamstring, you will feel the long adductor muscles attached to this stretch as well. Nice and easy. Remember, you're massaging deep into the hip pocket with each repetition. Switching now, wrapping the strap to the outside of the leg. Moving the foot across the midline. Notice the stretch now into the outer hip pocket. Breath by breath, using the strength of the inner thigh to help bring the leg across the midline. Remember, the technique works by engaging the inner leg. That's what releases and stretches the outer hip, hamstring, and thigh. As you do this, you're increasing that mobility as well as your ability to move well. For more flexible people, you can go without the belt, keeping the leg completely straight, again, strong through the quadriceps. Each repetition, as you bring the leg up, you can walk the hands up the leg, nice and easy, into the pocket of the hamstring. Keep imprinting the lower back on the mat, maintaining the neutral spine. Breath by breath, imagine sinking the femur head deeper into the hip socket with each repetition. On the left side, keeping the knee straight as we walk up the leg. With the exhale, inhale, release. More advanced students could even bring the head off the mat toward the knee, maintaining the neutral position throughout that stable midsection. Keep imprinting the back, keeping the opposite side heel light on the floor. Careful not to press down through that opposite side heel. As you finish, take a moment to rest. Adductors, stretches for the groin. Keeping the strap around the inside of the ankle, maintaining the internal rotation as you move the foot away from the body. Contracting the IT band abducts the thigh. Remember to maintain the neutral position, keeping the foot low to the floor. You'll feel this through the inner thigh, the long adductor muscles. Nice and easy, gradually increasing the range of motion. Explore various angles of movement along the inseams of the leg. Nice and easy, follow rhythmic stretches as you move through breath by breath. Remember that 2-second stretch and then releasing back to neutral. Switching sides now. The rope around the opposite foot and then around the inside of the ankle, maintaining the internal rotation. You'll then kick the foot away from the body, abducting the hip, which stretches the inner thigh, the adductor muscles, the groin. Remember to keep the foot low to the floor. If you feel impingement in your outer hip, the next sequence, which is the IT band stretch, will actually address that. It's pretty common, so don't worry about it. Keep working into the stretches bit by bit, and gradually it'll start to change. Always imprinting the back, tightening through the midsection. More flexible people might try without the rope. As you do this exercise, you're going to maintain the internal rotation of the femur, the toes pointed, and that helps to maintain a structure throughout the leg. This exercise can be a little awkward at first, especially if you're limited in any of these ranges of motion. As you move through these exercises, you'll become more fluid in your action. Remember, maintain internal rotation. You can point the big toe toward the opposite side of the mat. Nice and steady. You can use your opposite hand to help stabilize the rib cage in the midsection. Breath by breath, the rhythmic stretch of the inner thigh. Abductors IT band. Stretches for the thigh abductors and the IT band. Beginning with your strap wrapped around the outside of the ankle that maintains the external rotation. Moving the foot across the midline, keeping the leg mostly straight. Perhaps micro-bending the knee as needed to work into the outer portion of your outer thigh. You can use your thumb here to clean the gutter, so to speak. That'll help keep the pelvis dropped downward as you move the femur across the midsection. Using the rope in the opposite side hand to assist in this movement. Switching sides now. Wrapping the strap to the outside of the foot. As we move across, we gently assist with the rope. Many athletes will find this to be a rather tight area, especially if you have a lot of running in your sport. Remember, as you're doing this stretch, you can use your same size thumb to clean the gutter, so to speak. You'll drop that hip down, and you'll notice how you're able to massage deeper into your hip pocket as you maintain that external rotation. If you're like most of us, and this is a tight area, you'll want to repeat this exercise several times. Internal hip rotation, in which we stretch the external hip rotators. Beginning in your neutral position, the one leg straight toward the ceiling, using the hands to assist as you internally rotate the femur into the hip. Maintaining the stable midline, the pelvis remains level. This exercise works with the femur bone. You're not hiking the hip. To get leverage, you can bend the knee 90 degrees. Here, you swing the foot away from the midline. Again, focusing on that internal rotation. This should not strain the knee. Again, the focus is on the hip. Changing sides, we'll start with the straight leg variation. Again, we use the hands to assist in the internal rotation. Nice and easy. The imagery is that you're massaging deep into the hip. Again, you can bend the knee 90 degrees to get the extra leverage. Maintain a stable position throughout the knee, the ankle, and the foot. You can keep the foot flexed to maintain neutral. External hip rotation, stretching the internal hip rotators, the gluteus minimus and the tensor fascia lata. Beginning with the leg straight, you'll use the hands to assist in the external rotation of the hip. Rotating the femur in the hip socket. Careful not to change the pelvic position. You can get additional leverage by bending the leg 90 degrees. Gently assisting. If you can actually catch the lower leg and get a bit more leverage in the rotation here. Maintain shape and structure throughout the leg. The foot remains active and flexed. The knee remains in a neutral, comfortable position. Using the hands, you can gradually work through different angles into the hip rotators. Switching sides. Maintain neutral position in the opposite leg, and then gently use the hands as you begin to initiate the external hip rotation. Imagine the leg is heavy. The femur sinks deep into the hip socket. The low back continues imprinting on the floor. The imagery is that you're stretching into the body. Continue working breath by breath. Inhale returns to neutral. Exhale into the stretch. Bending the leg at 90 degrees, you can start to work a bit more leverage. Catching the shin. The opposite hand will gradually assist in pushing the knee out and away from the body, working into the outer hip. Piriformis, mobility for the piriformis and lumbar lower back rotators. Reach the leg up to 90 degrees. Wrap strap around outside of ankle to externally rotate the hip. Slight bend in the knee as you move the leg across the midline. Use opposite hand to assist at the in range of motion. The same side arm anchors the shoulder and hip to prevent compensation. Feel this across the outer hip pocket. Move with control from your center. Inhale to neutral. Exhale, switch feet. Wrapping the strap to the outside, keeping the external rotation. Tight through the midsection. Remember to concentrate on firing the inner thigh muscles to move the leg across the midline. Keeping the arm outstretched for the anchoring effect. Tight as you move through the midsection. Inhale to neutral, exhale across. Quadriceps, mobility for the interior thigh, hip, and knee. Lie on your left side. Double wrap the right ankle. To isolate the quads, keep the pelvis tucked, head in line with the spine, both hips and knees flexed to 90 degrees. Inhaling at your neutral position. Then in your exhale, you're going to fire the same side, glutes and hamstrings to extend the hip. Inhale, return to the neutral position. In the exhale, extend. Maintain a tight midsection and stable midline. The abs squeeze, keeping the knees and the hips stacked. Keep refining your position every time you return to neutral. Inhaling releases the pressure. Exhaling the stretch. More flexible people might choose to go without the rope. Keep the knees and the hips stacked. You can hold the underside of the left foot. Beginning with the legs fully straight, inhale. On the exhale, contract the knee, firing the hamstrings, then into the glutes. Catch the foot as you begin to extend the hip. You're moving through two joints. The first is the knee. Then gradually you extend the hip. Keep stabilizing position. The hips remain stacked. You can check your pose every time when you swing the foot back to center. Again, we keep the midsection engaged, maintaining a hollow gymnastics position. As we roll over to the other side, we again stack the knees and the hips. Maintain the neutral spine and midsection. This is going to give better isolation for the quads. The knee stays relatively low to the floor. Gradually, you can move it down and up, working into different vectors of the joint. Again, more flexible can go without the rope. You catch hold of the foot as you extend the hip back. Inhale, the leg straight, returning to neutral. Exhale into the extension. Here you can see the knee as it gradually rises a little higher and then it drops back toward the center. Again, working across the 4 different quadriceps. Experiment and hunt out any sticky tissues that you might find on the interior. Always working with the breath. Inhale returns to neutral. Hip flexors. Mobility for the iliopsoas, the rectus femoris. Beginning on the right side, the right hip stacked directly above the right knee. It's important that you have a neutral pelvis position here. The left side, you want the foot a little more forward than the knee. This way, when you start to stretch forward, the knee doesn't track too far over the heel. Here I'm adjusting the foot a little more forward. You can see how I make that adjustment as I'm able to stretch a little bit deeper. Keeping the same side thumb under the gluteal fold will help you to anchor a bit deeper through the hips. Nice, easy movements in rhythm. Inhale back to center. In the exhale, sink a bit lower. Keeping the eyes horizontal. A more advanced option is to wrap a strap around the outside of the foot. From here, you'll again find stability. As you exhale into the lunge position, the foot comes off the floor. This will help you to track more onto the top of the thigh, and you'll start to feel this in different areas of the hip flexor. Perhaps you can feel it a little higher now. Nice, easy movements. Again, that lunging leg will need to be adjusted slightly forward so that each time you track, the knee lands over the heel. And switching sides. Remember, the setup is essential here, beginning with the left hip stacked directly over the knee, the pelvis tucked. You'll begin to feel the anterior hip stretch here. In your exhale, you Gently lunge forward, feeling how the hips sink a little lower with each repetition. Inhale to neutral, refine your core. In the exhale, the low lunge. Always working with the breath. Remember, that's how we release the pressure and get into deeper stretches. That advanced option, where you elevate the foot as you move into the lunge position, can be done with this rope. Inhaling to neutral, steady and stabilize. In the exhale, sink a little lower. As always, we're exploring new territory, working into different sticky tissues along the anterior hip. Cat-cow, mobility for the spine and facet joints, scapula, pelvis, and ribs. Beginning in neutral position, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Inhaling, retract the shoulders, extend the spine. Exhale, tuck the hips, walk onto the fingertips as you flex the spine. Inhaling extends into the cow. Exhale, flex into the cat. Navel towards spine. Coordinating breath and movement. Inhaling and exhale. Try to get a little more range each repetition. Inhaling, take your time. Pause at the top of the inhale. Savor that movement. Exhale all the breath out. Pause at the end. Just savor that stretch. Getting a bit more range each time. Inhaling extends. Exhale to curl. When finished, return to the neutral position. Tail wags, mobilizing the external and internal hip rotators. Beginning in the all fours position, raise the right foot by 45 degrees. Pivot from that knee as you externally and internally rotate the femur. Look over each shoulder as you swing the foot from side to side, wagging the tail. The hips move from side to side, nice lateral movement through the spine and rotation into the hip. Switching to the left foot now. Starting slowly at first, just look over each shoulder, get a feel for the movement, and then pick up the tempo. Pivoting from the knee, careful not to let it slide in place. As you finish out the tail wags, move right back. Groundwork, mobility for the lower leg, ankle, foot, and toes. The calf, stretching the gastrocnemius, the calf muscle. Double wrap your strap around the ball of the foot, keeping the leg stretched out front, the knee totally straight to stretch the calf. You're going to exhale, flex the toes back toward the knee. Inhale, you'll relax the foot to neutral. Pull equally at first through both sides of the rope, keeping the foot straight as you start to stretch deeper into the calf. More flexible practitioners might bend forward and catch hold of the foot with the hand. You'll be able to get a bit better leverage as you start to draw back those toes toward the nose. Inhaling, release, and exhale, stretch. Sides, moving the strap around the ball of foot, keeping the leg straight. In the exhale, you pull the toes back. The heel might start to pop off the floor as you begin to stretch more into the calf muscle. Nice and easy in your practice, a little deeper with each repetition. Again, more flexible practitioners might drop the rope using the hands to assist in pulling back the foot. Notice you can start to release the head toward the in range of movement, pumping deep into the calf with each repetition. Soleus, the middle calf stretch. Bending the right leg up, placing the foot beside the left knee. Exhaling, pull the toes toward the nose, giving gentle assistance with the hands. Notice how the stretch is down lower into the calf now. Changing sides, we're going to continue banking off that left heel as we start to draw the toes back toward the knee. Nice, easy pump with each repetition, working a bit deeper into that ankle range of motion. Achilles tendon, stretches for the Achilles tendon. Pulling the foot all the way in close to the body now. Banking off the heel, we're going to once again raise the toes up toward the knee, giving assistance with the hand. As you start to work better into this position, you can feel how driving the heel down enables you to get a bit more dorsiflexion in the ankle. Continuing into the left side, we're going to draw the heel in close to the buttocks, using the shin muscles to lift the foot off the floor. Hand gives gentle assistance toward the in range of motion. The shin stretches for the tibialis anterior, the ankle and foot dorsiflexors. Wrap the right arm behind the right knee crease. Exhaling, contract the calf to actively point the foot. Using the left hand, give a gentle assistance as you stretch the top of the shin. In the second variation, we'll rest the right foot on top of the left thigh. Same action, contracting the calf muscle to actively point the foot, giving assistance toward the in range of motion. With this pose, you can really get some leverage as you start to stretch and curl the foot. Changing sides now, we'll wrap the left arm behind the left knee crease, giving gentle assistance with the right hand. Inhaling to your neutral position, exhale, activating the calf, building flexible strength as you practice these repetitions. In the second phase, resting the left foot on top of the right thigh. As before, give assistance toward the in range of motion. You'll feel the contraction all the way down to the bottom of the foot. Ankle stretches for the ankle everters and inverters. Double wrap the strap around your right foot. You're going to pull the left hand back, assisting the ankle inversion. That is, sickling the foot in toward the center of the mat. Nice and easy, gradually increase the range of motion with each repetition. Changing sides, you're going to now pull back on the right strap to help evert the foot, pushing the inner heel out. Changing sides, we're going to continue with the inversion stretch, that sickling of the foot in. Pulling with the right hand now as you help to rotate the foot in toward the floor. Moving into the eversion here, we pull back through the left side this time. The small toe side of the foot pulling back as the big toe side of the foot presses away. Toes stretches for the metatarsal flexors, extensors, and toe webbing. Keeping the heel grounded on the floor, you're going to lift the toes toward the knee, stretching the toe flexors with assistance from the hands. Next, to isolate the toes, you'll want to pin the non-exercising toes down while pulling back on the single. Always work a little more into the big toe. This affects your balance and all of your other physical systems. Gradually moving down the row of the toes. Although assisting each toe with the stretch, strive to move the toes on their own. We're not only increasing the flexibility, we're also training the body to move in better coordination. This is an excellent way to get better acquainted with your feet. Where you're tight, where are you flexible? Then moving in the opposite direction, we're going to help curl the toes in, the toe extensors stretching, and then working into isolation. You want to pin back the non-exercising toes while assisting each toe, here the big toe, working in isolation. Gradually moving down the row. Each time you want to think about moving with the toe itself. The hands are there only to assist. You might feel that the skin is really stretching here. Don't be surprised if there's a little discomfort in the beginning. Finally, stretching the adductor muscles, which are the webbings between the toes. Here you want to again stretch the toes using the muscles of the foot, then give assistance with the hands toward the in range. Similar to the earlier stretch we did with the hand, you can really feel the deep relaxation this creates in the foot. Changing sides, beginning with the toe flexor stretches. Pivoting off that heel, we're going to stretch the toes up toward the knee. Gentle assistance with the fingers as you uncurl the toes. Working into isolation, remember to pin the non-exercising toes back as you give gentle assistance with each repetition. Spending a little more time working on the big toe. Making your way down the row here, we're going to keep assisting. You'll find sometimes it's a little awkward to pull back the non-exercising toes. Don't worry, you'll get better at this as you repeat the practice. Nice and easy. Imagine you have the same flexibility in your foot that you would in your hand. Working nicely into the small toe. Working now into the extensors, we're going to actively curl the toes down toward the floor. Giving gentle assistance with your hands. You can keep the thumbs tucked under the arch of the foot. This will help you to curl down better. Into the isolated exercises, remember to pin the non-exercising toes back as you give gentle assistance. Walking down the row of toes, gentle assistance with each repetition. If you notice an area that's especially tight, always spend more time. Remember, repeated sets and repetitions. Working in the toe adductors, stretching the webbing, inhaling the neutral position, actively widen the toes, fan the toes out, and give gentle assistance toward the in range.